Sometimes other people trying to take or retake pictures, but other people that sit at other time sequences that's playing with time machines. So be careful when I'm doing real things at a present time. Anyway, I'm about to speak about something certain type of way. I'm about to refresh certain people consciousness about certain things. One time during the time I was Isaac, before they said I couldn't see, before I was barbarically murdering individuals a certain type of way, and of Genghis Khan's calendar and stuff. In ancient times, dealing with my son Genghis Khan legacy and lineage and shit. You know, the original Lama Ming. I was at the time I was like the original Lama Ming when I was Isaac and stuff, literally, and my children and the other my other children. When I'm just also gonna say, since I told you my children, also the other one that I that was claiming to be a part of the a pharaoh at the time at a place, but I was Isaac and I was literally the main. I was like, I am well, I was known as Ing, also a little, not too far off before that, but I was literally known as Ming, and like literally Ming, but I was literally dealing with a certain astrological tree during certain journeys, and I was still known a certain type of way to certain signatures of my family, a certain type of way, and I was known as the Lama Ming. So they call me La Ming, La Ming, and this is when you came up with the idea of the family Ling, the Ling family, But I was also known as La Ming at the time and stuff, right? And me being Isaac at the time, before I couldn't see what was going to happen a certain type of way, because I was wondering who put out my wife a certain type of way, because dealing with the 10 astrological jewels at another sequence, I couldn't be I wasn't able to see my children at a certain sequences that I was dealing with them. And so at the time, nobody knew that I knew my children was gonna get murdered and killed, and I had to go search for them, because at the time my vision was looking for my son a certain type of way, dealing with their jewels a certain type of way. So I had to literally, when I was getting dressed, I was be like, yo, put it on. You hear that? You hear that? Listen, put it on my foot. And then, and I was regarding myself at the same time, because it was beyond serious, and I don't know if my child was even realizing what was going on at the time. And I'm trying to tell him, yo, I think your mother died, and your mother's on me, telling me something else is going on, and it was beyond his comprehension, because I was still making atmospheres to empresses a certain type of way without them even knowing. But you gotta know the original story before I completed each of my children a certain type of way. So, you know, at the time, my family left the quarters of some of their chambers and pyramids, and went to go party by the waterfront when I was Moses. When I parted the sea when they were Moses, I did certain things, and they went to go chill at the waterfront, but with another pharaoh that they thought that was their elder, and the Dontor family was around at a distance also. And then me and my sons got together. This is the original story. Me and my sons got together, and was documented as a memory. Me and my sons got together, and then I did the mythology, because some of my sons, they did certain martial arts and they were hurt. So I had to do the mythology to heal my wife precisely at the time, because I had to heal my wife and my son, because she regarded his habitation, and I'm the only one that could really filter her precise habitation to her mythology. If she can't do it, it's only me that could do it. Nobody else can do it, and I have to literally handle the situation. But I completed all my wives and said that, you understand, I did everything already, but I'm not doing it ever again, though. That's the whole point. So as I did that for my wife, because she was very sick, a certain type of sickness that I had to at the time. So that when I went to go handle the situation, I made sure my kids went to like the waterfront and other places with my older son that was claiming to be their pharaoh, but also was their guidance. That I had them call him like gu- gu- um, gu- gun gun pet gun pet gun pet gun pet. You know, say another person didn't understand at the time. I had them calling them resigning like gun pet. You know, because of the foul. So we went to the chamber, and when I filtered, because remember their habitation was in the in 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 the house of it was like the pyramid, a certain type of way outside of the pyramid, so it was in the house like a castle. So while they were away, I filtered the mythology to their sickness and called it. So me and my elder sons went to go clean. So we went, and during the time the individual was there, you know, they're over there somewhere else. I called the situations that was killing them a certain type of way, even in the energy forces, and then we combated the situations. We just murdered and slaughtered everything that was the disease, bacteria, virus, a certain type of way. We wrapped it up, slaughtered it. We wrapped it up, slaughtered it. We you know we burnt some of the rest of them, and some of them certain things that was a certain type of way that my sons felt that was pleasing a certain type of way. I wrapped it up and hid it. You know, at another time I had wrapped it and hid it so it wouldn't be found, so my son wouldn't be looking for it a certain type of way. So if my son ever got into that ignorance, I would automatically wake up and just be like, oh, you gotta go get something happen. I would have the dream, and I would be like, something happened to my son a certain type of way, and he's indulging in certain things. So because I had to leave that point of reflection in the habitation a certain type of way, even for my wife and my son. So I make sure I had it under wraps a certain type of way. So I wrapped it up in whatever the situation. And then, you know, anytime my son felt away or something happened, I would instantly know, and I would reflect and tell him that you this so and so. But the day you hear the story that, you know, it was a story that it says, remember, the story goes, my daughter was messing with another guy that she found pleasing that had sex with her, and the guy was in her purity, but it caused a sexual disease virus a certain type of way to my empress, my real wife, and both of their mothers, my son's mother, and you know my daughter's mother, my son's mother, and then my other children's mother. So I had to separate the disease to get rid of the disease of the chemistry and the physical reality and the cellular activity. So I went there, and I just finished everybody. I called in inside the house and finished everybody. So their martial arts to the temple was gonna be complete. You understand? Because I was completing their martial arts. So I completed their martial arts to the temple. So this way, when they were fighting the force, it was more at ease for my wife because it cleansed my wife's sacredcy, because I was also doing things for the astrological empress. I cleansed the sacredcy of her higher consciousness. So when she came back, and I brought her back at a time because of celebration, she came back, she was easily able to conquer the physical reality for her meditation, for her habitation, of her constructing her domain of existence, when her being an abbot, an instructor of her art. So you know, I did that for my wife, and then at a time. There was individuals. I had individuals a certain type of way that did certain things a certain type of way, and then you know I had to go about the situation for my wife. And then one time, to make sure my wife was complete, you know, I let one of my wives, how can I say this, my wife's concubines go forward in a certain type of way, and doing the martial arts with a chain at a time. She was, and this next nigga that was like a biohazard, a individual that was off a certain type of way, but he was of the Eagle clan a certain type of way, and then and of the Eagle clan, and then he literally handled my wife's concubine a certain type of way, and almost killed her and stuff. So I resided the situation, and I had handled the situation later. How can I say this? Later on, at a certain time, and then the individuals of the continuance of the habitation, I went and saw through the situation with a saw a certain type of way at a time because they were sitting down. So I knew that the sickness of their habitation was even more. And in the movie, I'm known as the you see me in the movie, I'm known as a Charlene Abbott, but I went inside and just busting everybody ass a certain type of way and stuff, and then on top of it, then I caught my son and my son to get I caught my son with the guy again sitting down, my daughter with the guy sitting down having some type of romantic acknowledgement, and I showed them at the first time I caught them, I showed them that it was wrong, and then I saw through the situation because they were the ones that caused the situation a certain type of way of my wife dying, and then I literally saw through the situation and stuff, showed my wife I completed the task because in the movie I'm showing my wife that I already took down that type of situation before it ever happened a certain type of way in a form of remembrance, a certain type of way dealing with the art because I had to be extra nice because I was still doing real recordings even in the times even of the times after ancient Egypt and after the times of the golden ages. And I was recording movies even to the times you wouldn't even believe, don't worry about it, but I was doing certain things a certain type of way, showing them to their habitation and to the purity of their planet. I was showing my wife I was completing the situation, cleansing the situation for them. So in a paradigm of time, certain movies playing the sequences, and then it's just to refine the anatomy a certain type of way when a person's doing their habit, they know the instructions of their art of their sacredcy when it comes to their martial arts and stuff. So in the original sequence in the movie, it looks like me and my son slaughtered the innocent family. No, we slaughtered the biohazard deterioration of the family, and it caused controversy because you ever had somebody around and they wondering what's happening at a time, they feel something, but they wonder what happened at a time, and then what was supposed to cause a traumatic experience ain't there to cause a traumatic experience within them also because I literally already called it to the forefront and I done slaughtered the situation. So when they're actually there, it's not happening a certain type of way. So it's easy for my wife to clean the mythology. So if they fuck up, I already conquered the situation for my wife, and for my wife to be able to easily conquer the situation, so she could be able to teach my son the art in the house. So it was a form of cleansing of the deterioration of the ignorance of their social being, of their own habitation, making up their main structure of the higher form or their higher conditioning to their natural hemisphere, their habitation. So I was more smart than what I did. So when I went there, I ran through the situation and murdered all the biodeterioration. And by the time the people came back to the temple, it was so cleansing and clean, it looked like nothing happened. But then there was a time that individuals during the times of Rags, Edge, Blade, and Shield, they jumped into the light system a certain type of way. You ever tell your children you don't watch this a certain type of way? Then that's when I did precautions to stop individuals from jumping into certain things. So then I told the individual, I said, yo, don't watch this situation. The individuals learned about it and wanted to know about the situation. And this is when I was Isaac. This is when the situation happened. I started putting my clothes on, and one day, and I couldn't see. So I'm like, yo, why couldn't I see some of the 42? And then when I couldn't see it, I was like, yo, hey, you see? I said, you feel this? You hear this? And then I was putting on my clothes. But I don't know if they were doing something funny or something with my wife. And then they were in danger of my life because remember, I was already having thoughts that something was going to happen to me at a certain time. So while they were Rags, you remember Rags tried to recondition them. But this is why I couldn't see them at a certain time because the nigga tried to really murder them to recondition them, and I had to bring them back in the sacredcy of their magic of the oath that they took and stuff. So when I was bringing them back, I was like, yo, you see what I'm talking about? And I was bringing them back like, yo, hey, yeah, hey, so and so. And but at the time when I was Isaac and they said I couldn't see, it's like I couldn't see them. It wasn't that I couldn't see them because something was gonna happen to them. So then me being the real Isaac during the times of Jacob, and I'm also the real Jacob, but there's a difference. I'm the real, a person says Sabretooth would be playing Jacob at the time. in the paradigm of time, and only another nigga would really know what's going on because he would have to remember what was going on with another individual and what the individual was gonna try to accomplish. Because look at how he hid amongst them individuals and nobody knew the difference of who he was, and he tried to practice his art to his habitation to be able to shrink it. And then you remember individuals trying to blend into the elves. So you gotta remember, individuals trying to cause identity theft when it came to meet my wife Donto. So when I couldn't see them, it's just because I couldn't see them that they were around me, and it was like I couldn't see them. A certain time, I seen them getting out. They were losing certain things that they didn't. Anyway, so I was like, yo, man, hey, and I was calling my wife like, hey. And then during the time of Jacob, remember, the nigga tried to recondition them, and then I had to appear because my wife Donto had to come get me, and I had to appear like, hey. She was like, yo, is this and I came like, yo, what's going on? And then, I was Joseph at the time, so also and so the nigga wanted to do certain things, and I just sat down, this and the other, and I watched the individual to what he did, so I was like, oh, so then I knew from that time, hey, listen, Bill went into a room, A11 across the room. He was in A12. He went into A11. You listen. So so during that time and stuff, I went into. That means he. If Bill went in there, that means I'm talking about the guy in the other room. If he went in there, that means he has a situation again, a certain type of way that's waiting. It's like chambers. Let me explain something to you. I'm doing a certain explanation to you. So at the same time, it was like another individual might have something a certain type of way. You see how people go into the Moses sequence, and you be seeing people be going to Egypt like they acting like Moses, and they do. Some people may not know about the ancient habitation. You have a person entering a sequence a certain type of way that is causing the false development. This is why, like, I set the future. So if you have people fucking up your economics to the future, that means they're trying to do certain things in a pattern of physics. That means somebody really knows physics. So they'll try to go back as far as they can to fuck up your physics a certain type of way because another person's trying to recondition something that's they're not the condition, and what they're causing is even a higher disease than before, so it's going to even cause an even real plague. So another person wants to be able to devastate another person's reality when it comes to a form of martial arts. So one gotta be very careful. So now let me show you how real this situation is. So if the individual's going into A11, that means he still has individuals set up a certain type of ways as secret clan members of probably a martial arts clan, and probably just gonna fuck individuals up a certain type of way at a time. That's even causing devastation to other people's physics. But the way they're doing it is gonna be a certain next type of way. But anyway, I don't want to get too much into other situations. If other people didn't figure that out, then too bad for you. Fuck you. You should have thought about all types of shit. But anyway, so listen. So now me handling the situation for the 12, I couldn't see them at the time, and I was like, hey, you hear that? And I was telling their mother. So me regarding the same time I'm doing that, I was regarding my situation. So then when Donto came and got me, remember I was Joseph. So me watching the individual, and then to see what they caused, because they were looking at me like, yo, this and the other. They were jealous of who I was because the other individual are trying to implant emotions inside of them a certain type of, and I'm letting them know that it's really me. And then they have to see a certain type of situation. So after a certain while, they got to see me in the pyramid, and through time, they started acknowledging and realizing. And then when I sent for the other one, they had to realize why they were regarding this situation, why they had to why certain things were so captivating for them, the way certain things with them, because the acknowledgement of the type of individual the individual was that was lying to them, that tried to murder and kill. He tried to kill a 12, and he tried to kill a set of the 10. So I had to literally make sure and bring them back. And then another individual thinking that at a time that he had situations a certain type of way and they wasn't able to come back, but he thought he had it locked a certain type of way because he thought he finished them. But he didn't know that the reason of the education was beyond high. So I, it was looking like a nightmare to him seeing them seeing individuals coming back, knowing that what he did. And then on top of it, his mother tried to kill. This is when I was like, yo, we really got to check the sequence for him to do certain things like that. I mean, something has to be happening some next type of way. And then finding out that his mother went and did certain other things. And then she was just collecting certain individuals' magic. And then she was going to collapse the Love Empress and stuff. And then that was it. But in the original story, the nigga Rags went and then tried to rape everybody of that chamber of their reality and the habitation after I did the cleansing because he didn't want their calendar to have magic over him a certain type of way and to be a powerful thing because he was trying. Remember, at the time Rags was able to come in and out of me. Rags had your bleeding shield before. They can't. They were able to come in and out of me even while I slept. They would come out of me and watch over my habitation. They were laying dormant. They were supposed to be laying dormant on their planet. If something happened to me, they were supposed to return instantly, and they were supposed to see what was going on. They can't return. This is different. But they were supposed to know what was going on, and they micro-sized inside of me. And then they came out, and then they will regard. So something was happening, they would be able to stop it instantly. But when I ceased and realized that these individuals was indulging in other acts, so they were putting my heart my heart at risk with my sacredcy, with my wives, and they would come. That means they were trying to penetrate the sacredcy where my wives was, and they were one of my wives able to do the magic. So I realized that he was doing identity theft, and then then now you're hearing everything that's happening. Well, from all the other recording, I'm telling you everything that's happening. So then the situation, but the individual at the time, he didn't want. He was devastated. Remember, he was growing like a real giant in space, and he was able to pocket the planet. So they were looking at him more than a Star Lord, a certain type of way. And then you remember the story of the four giants that didn't want the fifth giant getting up, and I was like the fifth giant, But another individual didn't know what was going on. So the 42 was looking at him, and the others looking at him like a nuisance in space because these individuals were swatting other stars, and scared of them because they were growing up like such a giant. So I put a stop to. I'm on this planet right now. So the thing that another person's looking at, what the fuck is going? They're confused about the situation. But I'm their real parent. And then, it's because another individual was guarding my habitation, but they did wrong. So when I was in Coney Island Hospital, it thought it was Rags, but it wasn't Rags. It was my eldest son from the 42. And then, oh, man, when I was in Kings County, Coney Island, it was the eldest son from the 42. And then I'm like, oh, okay. But other individual had certain things was and then individuals was like, the individuals resemble some of the, some of the 42 resembled the 4 a certain type of way. Even though they were perfect by themselves the next type of way, they resembled the 4 a certain type of way. So when they would know instantly, individuals that knew what was going on a certain type of way. But, I can't tell you when, how, and what was going on, the reason that you retrieve. I can't even tell you the reason why you have to know about your history and certain things. But, I'm just going to be real, it's just like, the individual doing what he did, he entered the chamber again. He tried to rape another calendar because he was already swatting down stars in space. So in the paradigm of time to sight down a star was like a light being that has a time sequence of some of them have a light that the reason was given to them was of me and my wife, the real Magi Star Empress, and they hold a light sequence of a reality a certain type of way. So individuals swatting down the space. So individual had to go into physics and get rid of individuals' habitation in their land. So he was just trying to find out where it was, and then the reason why he was started getting at the 42 is because There were jewel empresses. So the light had to been, they felt the higher light had to been locked into the sequency of other things that was hiding them. And then if he tried to get rid of the other surrounding circumference of the light, it's like getting rid of my wife's aura of her protection, a certain type of way of all the social, economic, education, and magic that she conquered through the physics, and then remove it and being able to combat the situation. And then on top of it, he was trying to get rid of my wife's consciousness because he wanted my wife to be a whole. So this is why I went through all the situations I went through for the 10 astrological jewel empresses, the 42. I'm not even tell you about the 10 ninja and the sacred empresses. You even got ninja jewel empresses is different. And then you also got, I even have other things. You know, I'm a man, yo, listen, man, there's jewel stones and elements. I'm a man that's very complete already. Yo, listen, you don't want to fuck with me in a certain type of way. I just look simple. Don't get it twisted, my nigga. Your loved one, I'm not gonna tell you no more and stuff. You know, other people need to know. But the story of Isaac and me, and then they telling you when the slaughter. There's two different versions. When there was an individual that tried to commit identity theft, I locked that situation away. It's just like a person commit identity theft and fraud. Certain things are done a certain type of way, so you gotta know the difference before you start accusing certain people in the time. I'm the real Orion and the real Orion. I'm the real bounty hunter. I would never hurt myself a certain type of way, especially to calendars I made. I did put empresses away that were wrong, but my other empress had me put them in black jewels and certain other black. Or I don't gotta tell you about certain things. Things like that can't even be broken. Somebody tries to do something like that, you ain't even gotta worry about it. It's like somebody just finding something trying to break it, and the next thing you know, that shit it just fucks them up, and that person still won't come out the jewel. That's how real it is. Because it's a certain type of magic that put them away. Only certain people of my Empress Light knew about the situation, but the only way certain things can happen unless somebody did something to those stars, and then the individuals rationally she was swatting down the stars and diminishing and trying to swallow. Them niggas was giants. They were able just to walk into probably headbutt it and swallow like 10 stars in their mouth and then do some old next type of shit. And then on top of it, you thinking stars are little niggas. Yo, stars are big fucking, yo, no, nigga. Things that was happening a certain type of way, I had to stop the situation because it was getting out of hand. And then the other individuals that could have handled it, they knew that I made them for a reason, but they were wondering why all this controversy, and they didn't want to be held guilty, knowing that the Galactic War happened, and then everybody was at harmony. But they started wondering why they started reacting like that at the last minute while I wasn't in space. That was the most scariest thing, because they're like, yo, why did the magic let them continue a certain type of way? Because they were inside, in and out my habitation of my heart. So if they would have did something a certain type of way, the magic was skeptical and scared of the light. Was skeptical and scared because these individuals kept on coming in at me. So it was the magic itself was nervous, trying to keep the situation at bay. I had to been acknowledged for to be able to contain the situation. Yeah, anyway, I don't want to tell you too much, man. That's it. Don't worry about it. You know, just know the difference. This is why I'm in the room 4, 814, and then the nigga's in 812. So he's gonna try to do identity theft. This nigga's trying to continue with his fucking identity theft. You gotta know the difference. Oh my god. I'm talking about the nigga in the other room, you know. For real, the nigga in the other room. Oh. Anyway, you'll find out sooner or later. You just can't care about your history. You gotta want the world to end for individual to show you why you felt like that ahead of time. You'd be like, a person says in the paradigm of time, listen, a light being, right? Let me show you something. I close this light, you can't see, you won't be able to see around me a certain type of way. If I open the light, you can see further. You see, I open another light, you can see further. And I open the light where I'm at, you see even more clearer, right? Okay, now, same thing. A person says, they're like, yo, I feel like ending the world. I give up on my life. Why? Because there's something happening to you a certain type of way. Another person's creeping up on you, making your life miserable. You don't know how it's happening to you. You're feeling depressed in certain type of things a certain type of way. Another person's looking at their emotions and how they got you trapped up. And then next thing you know, they're like, yeah, so. And then you over there, other people sitting in the world like, damn, I feel like life is over. You're not a star being. You don't know what's going on. I don't know what you did to offend your higher intellect. And then on top of it is punishing in the physical reality of another individual. And then on top of it, you're wondering why, because another person's probably compressing you, reconditioning you at a time. And then you probably being processed through another individual, and it's not me that says I'm your mother's soulmate. So if you're not even coming through your natural orientation of your light of your original the reason of your original anatomy, it's gonna feel like a depression because something's off within your social circumference of your habitation that got you under pressure, and then there's a secondary individual that's destroying your love, that making you feel like you want to end the world and you want to die, so and so, and then next thing you know, it's gonna want to make you want to cause the end of the world, and then all it is a fucked up emotion of another individual. This is why you learn about the Chronos story. Remember, Chronos came against me one time, and then I had to knock him out from the inside just for him to be able to give you back. So now I'm over here on a planet. Individuals got to give me back with certain things happening even in natural levels of physics a certain type of way. But my caretakers is my caretakers, but another individual is trying to inconvenience my habitation because the fact is certain things that happen a certain type of way, and other individuals are trying to figure out what's going on. Another person, you might have other people that's comfortable with life ending a certain type of way, and there's if those are star beings, they're gonna lose their light. So they're not even able to hold their light. So that means there's people that's being manipulative when it comes to light, and the light would know, and it would instantly cast them down because the real uncomfortability is already gone. So now, what is happening now is more of a Armageddon a certain type of way because the individuals that's causing certain things is still on the forefront, and I'm able to be here in the same time handling the situation. So people are really being able to see the reality, and with the fault another person did, something happens to me now. Because nothing will happen to me, but if niggas tried to make something happen to me, it would be the end of the world and the end of all existence because I already conquered everything and set the future, and then the ignorance of another person is just like they're bargaining for time. They're trying to make a time sequence give out. So this is why an individual's trying to receive payment from me because this individual is planning to the nigga Bill is planning to kill my that's the real rags. He's planning to kill my caretakers, my nigga. He's planning to kill the planet's caretaker, so he's trying to cause a spread out of biohazard debris of the mythology vacuum bag of biohazard that's causing everybody to be depressed and fucking up people's lives. So know the difference, man. I don't gotta explain to you the science of life when it comes to DNA. Figure it out for yourself. We in 2019, 2562. You should have figured it out for yourself. Why the fuck do I gotta tell you what's going on? After this video, I'm not telling you no more. Do the physics of everything I just told you. 32 minutes.
Gotten pretty good at telling it. Well, see ya. Some theory, but a way of life.
This is why in Los Angeles is you wouldn't believe Los Angeles the most deadliest place a certain type of way.
I haven't been able to reach them.
See, and even with a hospital gown, this chick is dangerous.
To all the drugs.
Ready to have a baby?
She's not even supposed to be. What is that?
I'm just.
That's like, yo, my nigga, that's a disaster waiting to happen a certain time for another individual. That can't become your chamber to try to recondition. That's not a chamber, my nigga. You don't play, my nigga. You know my positioning right now to do something that don't make no sense.
He's not a part of this.
I'd like to be. I can be. I want to be.
A person to look at a person like a savage. I can't live out those type of emotions when one is connecting the times of love for the times of upright. That ain't a part of the times of love. That's something else. You can't do something like that because dominatrix has nothing to do with love. These people are wrong. It's fucking stupid shit. I'm telling you, man.
With nobody. And even though this is wonderful and I'm thrilled to be here. And I love Amy. Hi, Amy.
And then you see they're trying to bombard other people's anatomy, making it discomfort. This is how the identity. This is what made families real in danger certain ways. Be very careful.
It's my business. You're my son. You're my business.
Do you realize that you have ruined every single event I've ever had in my life?
What are you getting so upset about? We're just talking.
I'm not doing that, and what I'm trying to do is going to be different. I'm not going about it like that. I'm not going about
The elementary school play, you tried to put different pants on me.
that. One has to be more civilized with conduct because of individual. You're dealing with conscience moments now.
On stage!
Listen, can't swing to that.
Monday morning at a long clock swings, it goes bang, 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 while it ring, ring, ring. Yeah, I'm head on the road if you wanna rock again. All you gotta do is put a drink in my hand. Yeah, fill it up, throw it down. I got a little hungover, still hanging around here. That dog is howling, hey there, man. All you gotta do is put a drink in my hand. That horrible dog.
I love Amy, and I just want to make sure that you're marrying today for love, and only for love, because that's the only way a marriage can stand.
Not, and it can't be the wrong type of love because there's a certain type of love that can't live. That was the reason why I called it live. There was a certain type of next love that couldn't live. In the reality, literally. But at the time, I said literally because another individual had to understand the difference of why I said what I said a certain time.
To say, and it came from love. Now you do what you want. This is your life.
Because now you should have had your dungeon situation in more control instead of having to comfort a certain type of way, loose in the reality. And I have nothing to tell you about where's your dad, your Gramps. The one I told him to conduct everything. Where you at? Well, I'm your real dad, but where's your Gramps?
Okay, we're back.
Friday night open because I'm turning you a back.
The guy that plays Raymond's dad. Raymond's my real son, but the guy that plays his dad is the one I put there just to make sure everything is a certain type of way where he at.
All new next on TV Land. Discover Nivea oil.
Hercules. Where's Hercules?
That it's right next to the railroad.
I just hit this button.
Now even better.
Motor Trend is bitching.
I didn't know that until Thanksgiving of this past year when he told me.
Saddling up at number 28 on our countdown.
There was a resource available for me to deal with the things that I was dealing with. I think that a lot of times we just don't tell each other. We don't give each other the tools. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to give your people the information. Like, what you holding on to it for? Like, you feel ashamed because you're going to their
Why?
Why would you ever But you're going to get help. You're making yourself
You get cloned in. Be careful going to LA.
So everything is mental. Everything starts with a thought. So if you don't have this right, nothing else will.
Well, too bad for you.
Hey, make you know if you want to radio therapy.
Like heart attack, stroke, or death. Oh, no increase. This is Kate. Hey? That's correct.
Other niggas don't care about their funky. It's a funky time. You remember other niggas? Can you get the funky time? Other people want to live a certain way because I don't go certain other places like that because the things that they be doing, I just be waiting for their shit to shut down by themselves because I be looking at my wife. What the fuck you telling me for? No, you see? This shit ain't my wife, but this is just a funny chick that robbed the nigga. They went and robbed the Ice Galaxy for gold, Through the monkeys. The monkeys didn't even know what they lost. This is you see people that's not educated, too bad for them. Oh, you want to have monkey sex? Good for you. Bye-bye. Then you look at the monkeys and like, what the fuck? You're a spad. You're a spad. Figure out your physics if you can ever learn how to read. Because I taught you a long time ago, but some of you, bye-bye. Bye-bye.
She's talking to me.
Oh, oh, you gonna spray? You gonna spray on the fuck up his like, touch that shit. Okay.
As a possible suspect. With key witnesses testifying in public before Congress. The only thing I can say is
you get a cable sequence network for that. You got pay for that also. You can't be doing things like that with people not understanding why you're doing it. That means you ain't got money. Where's my money? So, you're gonna look like a criminal. Why? Because people are not paying me. That's how they fucking up your future economics. I already set the future. Other people had all type of things, but now you look like a fucking criminal. You look like you need to be put down. For real, you look like you need to be put down on another channel. And why? Because individuals didn't pay me my money. You just wanted to do. Another nigga gonna have you do it, and then he's gonna see what you do, and then he's gonna go get all your shit. Stupid you for not caring about your higher consciousness. Bye bye.
Once added to the fuel,
Cephalitis is
like shrimp scampi, paired with unlimited soup or salad and breadsticks.
The rats are scheming on a commercial.
At Olive Garden.
Have you heard the legend of old
See,
McLean?
told you she's admitted it. I love got it. Scheming on nigga. Oh. Yo, my nigga.
McClendon braved roadways where most men won't wander to rescue the runaways.
See what I told you see this nigga in the street, right? Nigga's out. You look at that. Little nigga say, yo, listen, this. Oh.
Perhaps she knows the source of her power. Every day.
Not having a good breakfast can make you feel like your day never started. Get going with Carnation Breakfast.
Conservation Officer Eric
Another nigga's being he's wondering if he could try to hold the jaws of death open. He said, shit. Niggas, niggas is gonna blame it on Athena. They're gonna mangle Athena. They're gonna say Athena was a mangler.
Atlas, give us stick. Dylan, you're not a leader anymore, okay?
You Chinese food now. You're not even Chinese food. You're pizza. You linguine. What the fuck you doing in China? What the fuck you doing in a part of China?